All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Ready, Set, Smart webinar series, where we are providing continuous opportunities highlighting smart tools. Our Getting Started sections are designed to give you a beginner's view into smart products and build your confidence as you integrate these tools into your classroom. In today's session, we'll show you how to get started with your GX Smartboard as an instructional tool for engaging students. My name is Paris. I'm a customer success manager from Washington State, and today's webinar is Getting Started with Your Smartboard GX. We encourage participation. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat during the presentation. At the end of today's webinar, additional resources will be shared in the chat. Also, for participating today, a certificate will be provided after you complete a brief survey. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my information in the chat, so if you do have any questions after the fact, feel free to send me an email. I also have my Twitter or X account listed if you are interested in following me and my journey with my Smartboard and Lumio on Twitter. Now let's just dive right into it. We're going to start just talking briefly about our agenda. We're going to talk about some customization features that are really important with our GX. We'll also be talking about how we can interact with the board utilizing our Google Drive or OneDrive. And then we'll see, we'll hop into the browser for a moment, and then we're going to spend the majority of our time today in our Whiteboard, learning how we can use that tool for collaboration. Now, switching over to my Smartboard screen here, I've got my Smartboard GX. Here is my homepage. You're going to see in the middle all the different apps that I have shortcutted here. Of course, we have our Wi-Fi and all that good stuff in the corner. But first things first, I wanted to go over some settings that I feel are really important with your first time setup with a GX board. So I'm going to click on our settings app here. And I'm going to select the personalization option on that left-hand side. Now, I always like to point out the wallpaper just because, of course, you can change the wallpaper. I do really like with the GX board, it does let you know the recommended image size, so you can get that nice crisp image for your wallpaper. But these bottom three options are definitely the most important. And these, like I said, these are just some initial setup items that I wanted to make sure that we cover today. Now, this first one, that multi-window mode, I do suggest turning this option off. It does take up a little bit more power when you have this option turned on. And this setting, it's really just like on your phone. If you can see all the different apps that have been open, that's what multi-window mode does. Like I said, I keep it off. It takes less power keeping it off. The next option is displaying icon labels. Now, what icon labels are we talking about? If I expose my toolbar, which can be found on either side of my board, you can see I have an arrow on this side as well as this side. I'm going to expose one of those sides here so we can see our toolbar. Now, right now, they all have labels. I know what those widgets are, but if I turn off that icon label setting, you can see all of my labels disappear. And I don't know about you, but for me, I don't really have an idea of what all of these widgets are unless I have the label. So I suggest turning that setting on. And then as well as the hide toolbar after. Now this is default on 5 seconds when you first get the board started up. So I definitely suggest just adjusting that time as needed. Now, perfect. Let's go back to the home screen here. Like I said, we're going to start out by talking about some customization. We've talked about customizing some of those settings, but let's talk about actually customizing our home screen. Now, if I had an additional app that I would like pinned as a shortcut here, all I would need to do is let's open up my apps here. And maybe I'm using Zoom all the time. I can long press on this and drag it over to my home screen to create that shortcut. Now, one thing I do like to know, if you are noticing that there's an app that you would like on your Smartboard GX that you do not see available in this list of apps, I would suggest contacting your admin to get that downloaded via Smart Remote Management. You do need smart remote management to download any external apps. Now, perfect. We've talked about creating a shortcut with an app. Now let's talk about actually customizing that toolbar that we have on the side here. So here I can see I have my different widgets available to me. I do have a more option down at the bottom. I'm going to select that here. And now I can see I actually have a lot more widgets than are initially shown. Now I'm going to hit the little green edit button. And now you'll notice that the 4 widgets that are on the toolbar, I have the ability to remove those, and then I can add in other ones. So maybe I'm thinking, maybe I don't use the spotlight feature too much, but I'm definitely going to be using a timer a lot in my class. So I can just easily remove any widgets from that toolbar and add any other ones. And when I'm done, I'm just going to click out there. And perfect. Now, we've customized our home screen, and we've also had a chance to customize some of our widgets. Now, the next thing that I want to talk to you all about is signing in to your cloud drive. So we do have that option on the main screen. We have this cloud drive app here. When I click on this, you will see I am currently connected to my cloud drive. I personally use my Google Drive all the time, but you do have the ability to add your account with your Google Drive or your OneDrive. Now, this comes into play when we are in the Whiteboard app. You can import and export files to and from your cloud drive super easily when you set up your account in this cloud drive app. Now, there is a spot in the Whiteboard where we can add that account. So if it's your first time getting set up with the board and maybe we just forgot to sign into our cloud drive with this app, no worries. You can do it in the Whiteboard as well. And when we get there, I will show you guys how to do that. Now, the next thing I did want to touch on just super quickly is the screen share app. This is such an easy app to use. This is our by Tello screen share. Now, if you wanted to share your smartboard screen to a laptop or your laptop screen to the smartboard, as long as both of those devices are on the same Wi-Fi network, you will be able to do this. You just need to go on that laptop or your computer to that share.bytello.com. You'll enter in that code, and from there, you're good to go to share. I am actually sharing my board screen right now via Bytello to my laptop so that I can share it with you guys in this Zoom webinar here. So you can see under devices, I do have one device connected. If this is an app that you feel that you'll be using, definitely suggest selecting menu and checking out some of the settings that are available. Now I have permission mode turned on. So on my laptop, after I type in that code, I do have to accept that invitation to share on my smartboard. So it's not just going to automatically share as soon as I type in that code. I do have to moderate that. Now, perfect. Next thing I want to dive into is our browser. And then from there, we're going to move on to the Whiteboard and check out some of those super awesome interactive features that we have in our Whiteboard app. So like I said, let's dive into that browser app first. Now, as you can see, I do have a Newsela article pulled up. I am just using my finger. So at this point, I'm not picking up a pen. I can switch tabs just using my finger as the mouse. Of course, I can scroll up and down here. But if I did want to annotate on this page, I just need to expose my toolbar again on either side of my screen. And I can click this overlay widget. Now, once I click on the overlay widget, I'll get a little bar that pops up here. It's going to give me the ability, there we go, to access my pen. So picking up my pen here, I can now circle anything on this page. Maybe I want to change the color. We can see there's that tiny little triangle next to the pen, and that triangle is indicating to us that we do have more options with that tool. Tapping the triangle, I can change this to green. And if I want to save this as a screenshot, I can do so by hitting my save button. But for the sake of the example, I'm actually just going to close out of this overlay widget. And now I can use my finger as a mouse again and continue to use this page just like normal, right? While we're here, I figured maybe we'll just take a look at a couple more of these widgets that you do have available to you. Now, we do have the record feature. So if you ever wanted to record your screen, you have the ability to do that there just by hitting that red record button. We also have our spotlight. I can adjust the settings on this spotlight as well. You know, maybe adjusting the zoom and the clarity and move around the screen. And of course, we do have timers, stopwatches, and all of that great stuff. I figured maybe we'll take a look at one or two more of these widgets once we hop into the whiteboard. So I'm ready to do that. I'm going to go ahead and select my home button. And now I'm going to go into my whiteboard app. Now we're going to be spending a lot of time with this menu bar down at the bottom here. But first thing that we need to do is we need to talk about our pen. So picking up my pen, I do want to show you guys with the GX, this pen has a thinner tip side as well as a thick tip side. And we'll see how both of these sides can come into play when utilizing the GX. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to expose those additional options I have with my pen. Just like when we looked at that overlay feature, we do have additional options here, that little triangle next to our pen, letting us know. So here I am. This is where I can choose to have, you know, specific settings for the thin tip side, and I can also navigate to that thicker tip side and change some of those settings as well. So I'm just going to choose this little paintbrush pen for both of them. I can write up here like so. And then I can change the side of my pen. Now I'm using that thicker tip side. Switch again and utilize both sides. Have two different colors going on at the same time. In order to erase, I actually have two different options. I have that erase option down in my menu bar, and if I click on that, I can use my pen to erase. Or if I'm still in my pen, my fist or my palm will work as an eraser. So I'm going to utilize that feature here right now. I feel like it just gives you a bigger eraser, and I love to erase with my palm. I feel like that's the easiest way to go. Now, I'm sure you guys saw this magic wand looking pen, and I want to show you guys this feature because I think it's so much fun. This pen is called our AI picture generator. Now, you see on my thin tip side, I just have that paintbrush in black, but on that thicker tip side, my color is red, and I have that AI picture generator selected. So I'm going to come up with an example here. I'm going to use that thin tip side, just my regular black pen. Going to write ABC. And down at the bottom, I am going to utilize that thicker tip side of my pen here. And let's see, maybe we're going to do that is my lovely cat. You guys can tell I'm definitely not an artist. But I always like to say with the AI picture generator, we can all be an artist. So I'm going to pick this guy. I think that most represents the cat I was trying to create. And then maybe we're going to do, oops, using the thin tip side of my pen. I got to switch here. That's my lovely apple. So I'm going to go ahead and convert it to that picture there. And my last image I'm going to do is a ball. We'll do that basketball. So now, with my AI picture generator, I've created a little activity for my students. I'm going to put my pen down for just a moment here, and I'm going to make sure that in my menu bar, I have these select options selected. Now, I can then have my students move the objects to the correct letter. So using my finger, I'm going to grab and drag the ball to B, my A to my apple, and my cat to my letter C here. Now, perfect, perfect. I do like I said, I think it's fun to utilize that pen every once in a while. So I usually like to keep one side on that AI picture generator and then just one on my normal pen. But I'm ready to add some more content to this lesson. I want to add some more to my whiteboard here. What I'm going to do is I am actually going to click on my menu in that very far left-hand corner. And I guess before I bring in some more content, there is just one thing that I wanted to point out while we're here in menu is our theme. Selecting theme, I can change my background color. Maybe one of these other colors is a little bit easier on the eyes. I could also change my template. So I could have, that lined template background or, some of the other ones that we have to offer as well. And there we go. I think for the sake of our webinar today, I'm actually just going to turn my theme off. But just so you are aware, you do have the ability to turn those themes on. Now, again, like I said, we are ready to go ahead and add more content to this lesson. So I'm going to hit my menu and I'm going to select import. I have a PDF in my Google Drive that I know I utilize all the time. It really works for me in my classroom. So, like I said, it's a PDF. I'm going to select PDF here. And if it's already on my board, fantastic. I can access it here via the board storage. But if it's in my cloud drive, like I know that file I'm talking about, it's in my Google Drive. Selecting cloud drive, this is where I have the ability to access those files. Now, you see I have an add button as well. If I didn't sign into my cloud drive from that initial sign-in screen at the home page, I do have the ability to sign in right here as well. But I'm signed in, I'm ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and click on my name there. And now you're only going to see the PDFs that I have on my Google Drive. It's not showing every single file from my Google Drive. Because I selected that PDF option, I am only seeing PDFs here. Now I'm going to select this PDF and bring this in. We'll give it a second. There we go. Perfect. It was just one page. Comes in really tiny. I don't know about you, but that's really hard for me to see, to read, to look at. So using my fingers, I am going to zoom in just like you'd zoom in on just about any other device. And now it's a bit bigger. There's some information on this page that I don't really need on my GX whiteboard slide here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this PDF. And now I can get rid of that name and date, and I can also get rid of this information down at the bottom. Hit OK, and there we go. I think I'm going to even zoom up just a little bit more. Perfect. Now I can pick up my pen, select my pen option in the menu bar down at the bottom, and here I am ready and good to go to start writing over, annotating over this PDF. Now we looked at some widgets earlier and I brought up the spotlight, and I actually thought this may be a pretty fun activity to utilize our spotlight widget. So if I expose that toolbar again, hit my more button. Whoops, that's my stopwatch. Let's do the spotlight. I can adjust that clarity again. And maybe we're kind of using this activity like a scavenger hunt. So I could have, maybe my student is doing the hunting here and they are moving the spotlight around on the screen to expose the different shapes. And maybe, as a class, we're shouting out what those shapes are. So I do just love, all the different use cases for that spotlight. It's such a fun widget that we have there. Now, perfect, perfect. We also have, some more of these tools down at the bottom that I want to make sure we explore today. So what I'm going to do is I want to add a new page on the right-hand side. I'm going to select my add button. We checked out the pen, checked out the eraser a bit. Our clear all function that just allows you to clear all of the content that's currently on that slide. I do have my ruler if I need to make any straight lines, and a few other math tools available to me as well. I also have my shapes. Now you can see when I select shapes, I do get that little triangle indicating that there's more options with our shape tool. If I click on that little triangle, you can see I get both 2D and 3D shapes. So let's see, I have some shapes and some lines. When I go to 3D, I have these 3D shapes as well. But maybe just for the sake of our examples, so we've, maybe we'll stay on a little bit of the theme that we've been on today. So I'm going to grab I'm on the triangle. Let's stick with the triangle. All I need to do now that I have this shapes tool selected is use my pen and grab and drag to create that shape. I can pull in a circle as well. And once I'm ready to use my pen again, I just need to move over to that pen option. Maybe we're having some students come up to the board and just trace these shapes. Beautiful. Now moving on, taking a look at that ruler, at our shapes. I did want to show you guys pair mode, and then I think we're just going to look at one other tool, and I'll make sure you guys have all of the resources for our Smartboard GX. We'll probably go over just a couple more things here. So if I want to have multiple students up on my smartboard at the same time working on something, collaborating on something together, I can select my pair mode option in the menu bar. Now, again, this is going to give me the ability to have either 2 people, 3 people, or 4 people. Let's go ahead and select that 4P, that 4 people option. And now my board gets split into 4 separate sections. I can change the pen color for each section as well. And now I'm going to do 2 pens at the same time. Maybe we have 2 students up here. They're racing against the clock to complete a math problem. If I could write with both hands at the same time, I totally would, but just for the sake of the example, I'm just going to write on the screen here. So now we can have 2 students, essentially 4 students collaborating all at the same time. I know, we only have these 2 pens on the GX, but we can have 2 students writing with pens, and then we can also have 2 students writing with their finger as well. One thing I do like to point out, if one of my friends, maybe they're getting a little too carried away here, and they're writing and writing and writing and trying to write in their friend's space, it is going to give them that hard stop so they aren't able to just write in their friend's spot there. And when we're done utilizing pair mode, I just need to select that little back arrow in the bottom left-hand corner. But don't worry, because all of the work that we did in pair mode is saved as a slide in our presentation here. If I wanted to see all the different slides that I have going in my presentation currently, I can move back over to the right-hand side and just select that 4 out of 4, my little page sorter there. And I can view all of the different pages that I have been utilizing in this presentation. Maybe there's something I needed to remove. I could always just select that X and get rid of it there. Now, perfect. I did want to show one more feature down at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a brand new page. I'm going to select that add button on the right hand side. And let's check out our mind map. Now this tool, I really like this tool. Actually, before I pick up my pen, I'm going to make sure that I'm on the select option. Maybe I want to move this up a little bit. And let's see here. I do have the ability to highlight just one of these cells, and I can add additional pieces to this mind map. Perfect. And when I'm actually ready to add content to this mind map, I just need to pick up my pen, select that pen option, and start writing in one of these squares. And perfect. I can really utilize this mind map to talk about a story. You know, maybe we're talking about the different parts of the story, and I could really dive into these using my mind map tool here. Now, perfect. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to show. I think we have some time, so let's go ahead. Let's take a look at our table. So again, I'm just going to add an additional page to our whiteboard, and I'm going to bring in a table. Now, the one thing that I really like about the table is that I can select right here how big I want it to be. But let's just insert this 6 by 6, and maybe, we're using this as a calendar to document weather. So I could go And I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but as I'm writing in this table, it does actually expand based upon how large I'm writing. So I do really like that feature. If you're writing a really big word and you don't want it to just be all over the place, right? You want it to be in that same square. It will adjust based on what you're writing. Now, if I select down at the bottom and circle this, I can turn this into writing. I just have to click on that smart write. I'm going to do it again with cloudy. So I'm on select using my finger. I'm going to circle cloudy. Oops, circle the whole thing. Let's circle just cloudy. And I can do my smart write. Didn't quite get it. We'll just say cloud. And that works for me. And now I can tap on this word here. And I could clone this, and maybe we can move that to Tuesday, right? Beautiful. We've got to take a look at a ton of the different features that are available to you with your Smartboard GX. Now, one last thing I did want to show, because I do feel like it's such a powerful tool, is in our widgets, we have this tool. It's labeled PIP. Now, that stands for picture in picture. I am going to select my picture in picture widget here. And what this is this is going to give you the ability to have your laptop connected to the board, but you still have the ability to write your notes. Whoops, let's go to our pen. Write our notes in the whiteboard app behind. Now, of course, I don't have anything plugged into my HDMI right now, but if I did, you would see, my laptop screen display here. I also have the ability to adjust the size. Maybe that large is a bit too big. I could change that to medium and small and etc. If you want to just connect your laptop instead of using picture-in-picture, if you swipe up on your board, you're going to have access to your inputs as well. And as long as something is plugged into, let's just say HDMI 1, for example, that would be highlighted green, indicating to you that you do have something plugged into that input. Now, perfect. We have had, such a great time today. We created such a wonderful lesson. Let's talk about exporting this. Now, if I hit my menu button again here, I have, of course, we took a look at import. We imported that file from our Google Drive, but I do have the ability to export this, and maybe I want to export it as a PDF. I can go ahead and select PDF. I can save it to my board storage if I would like to, or I can always save it right to my cloud drive. And from there, I'm just going to go ahead and say save all pages. I can rename this if I want to, but just for the sake of our session today, I'm just going to keep it as is. And there we go. It's going to let you know that it has uploaded that file successfully. Perfect. Now, awesome. Let me just double check my agenda here, make sure that there wasn't anything else that I'm missing. I think we did go over just about everything. But let's move on to checking out some of the resources and the challenge that I have for you guys. So again, I'm always going to encourage this little challenge I have. Try to sign into your cloud drive. Check out how you can easily import files. Maybe add a mind map. Try out the pen. Utilize the writing over the mind map, and then see about exporting that completed whiteboard. Throw it into your drive there, and check out how you can access that directly from your Google Drive or your OneDrive. I do have these resources, and let me get this in the chat here. Make sure I have the correct link for you. In our resources, we're going to see our global community. We have our Facebook page. We also have our ambassador community. Our ambassador community is almost like a Facebook page, just all things smart. If you just got your smart board and you want to learn more, you do not have to be an expert to be part of the community. We really would love to see you in our ambassador community. We also have our Learn Smart page. This is going to be a nice overview page for you. If you have any questions about your smart board, there's probably a resource to help you here. We, of course, have our YouTube page. We do have some YouTube videos on the GX as well, just kind of going over some different features and things that you can utilize. We also have our webinars. Again, thank you so much for joining our webinar today, but I do have our webinars linked here, so you can check out all the other webinars that we have available. And then, of course, our Academy. Now, our Academy is free self-paced coursework that you can take over the GX to learn all the ins and outs. It's a really, really great program, and you can get PD hours for utilizing the Academy as well. Now, of course, I have a little bit more information about becoming an ambassador. I know I talked about, connecting. It's a global community, folks from all over the place talking about their smart board and different ways to utilize it. You can learn tips and tricks, and you do get sneak peeks of updates and all that before everybody else. So another reason to join the community. And last thing, like I said at the beginning, we do have a certificate for joining with us today, a little survey. So let me get that out to you here. Perfect. And then I do have my registration for future webinars. I'll put that in the chat as well. Awesome. Well, thank you all for learning with me today. I really appreciate seeing you all of here, and I hope to see you at future webinars. I'll stick around for another minute just in case there's any questions. But thank you guys so much, and have a wonderful rest of your week or weekend.